What's happening, everybody? It's me, your resident supervillain, Mr. J. Washington, and welcome to another edition of One-on-One with a Supervillain. I feel like I got to break this down for everybody every time because some people don't get it, and especially people seeing it in Patreon the first time. This is for members of the $25 and up tier on my Patreon, and what it is we talk for at least an hour about whatever they want, not what I want, what they want, and it's like a meet and greet. Now, here's the reason why it's completely different. I don't hear of anybody else doing this with their patrons, like for this long, number one. Number two, when you do a meet and greet, no matter who it is, you wait in a line, you pay to see them, which is like $50, $60. Then you go shake a hand and take a picture, and that's it. And the whole interaction is less than 5 minutes. But this week, I still got another one of the members on at the Supervillain Squad on the $25 tier. I'm bringing him in, Mr. Luis Torres. What up, bro?
So, man, hold on. Before starting off, you're one of the few people who can say my name how it's supposed to be. Luis, not the bitch-ass name, French name, Louis or Lou.
Wait, you don't say Luis?
No. Bro, most people are white Americans.
That explains a lot. Dude.
They have no culture. Like they say, how do you say Luis? Like Luis, Louis. It's not that difficult.
First of all, how do you say Luis? The way you just fucking said it, like.
I lived with all my life, so at this point they say, "How do you want me to pronounce your name?" Like, however you can. I appreciate your struggle, but I've heard every pronunciation of my name.
That's horrible. Man, my damn muscle milk is so thick. So what's going on, man?
Well, since last time we talked, I'm back at work. I stopped being furloughed, but my schedule is horrible. I'm from 10 in the morning till about 6:30 in the afternoon. So I have nothing left to do in the afternoon, where before it was from 5:30 to about 2:30. Which is good.
So it's like as soon as you come home, it's dinner, get yourself cleaned up, and then get ready for the day and get all over. I remember those schedules. I remember those days, dude. The only thing worse than that is when I was working at the airlines and you had the afternoon shift. Sometimes when you were just starting, you would get stuck with the afternoon evening shifts, and that was either 2 to 10 or 3 to 11, which means you do nothing.
Yeah, it sucks, but you know what? It's worse too because I started continue streaming or whatever, and I was getting steady increase, not gigantic, which is good, but I was doing it the stuff that I liked, and people were coming in. But now with the schedule, I can't. When? Like,
well, I mean, I would think off days, but it's like you probably got other stuff to handle on those days.
I have everything else to do. But you know what? I'll figure it out somehow.
That sucks, man. Listen, I have been like trying to balance streaming, recording with writing, stand up, interviews I've had to do, hosting.
Which, by the way, I've enjoyed.
Oh, thank you, man. Thank you so much, man. I'm trying to do all this stuff. And some people are like, yo, why you ain't putting a lot of content on your channel? I was like, yo, first of all, I never was going to always put a lot of content up here. It was just going to be enough to get by and do stuff. But it's also, people who know me know I got a million other fucking things I'm doing. Working out every day.
You're producing your own creative. You have a lot of things in the back that you can't talk about now because NDRs, and then things might just fall through, and then you're like, well, shit, what do I do now? Sometimes you just can't talk about until they happen.
Man, listen, I got a couple things. It's like, yo, I can't wait to hopefully tell the world about, but at the same time, I'm like, well, you know what? I just gotta tell 3 people who I know gonna shut the fuck up. Like, that's literally how it is. Like, 3 people that I know is gonna be like, shh. So man, that's what it is on this end. Just trying to deal with all this shit still. I still haven't been back to work, as we can tell, because I know a lot of people are like, oh, wait, with us, like those of us do the shit online. They be like, yo, but you working from online. Like, you don't get it. Yes, we are, but the money we was making ain't the same no more.
No, it's not. Especially if you're working with YouTube or Twitch or whatever, they take
even just them.
They take some amount from them too.
Yeah, but not even just them. It's like when you work with these different networks, the money they can't offer like they used to because they ain't operating at full strength. So you're like, all right, I mean, it's something. I'm gonna hold on to it. So.
You have to look at the positive though. You're working where a lot of people, myself included, want to do.
I mean, yeah. You know what? When I first got into all this, I never thought. I was like, oh, it's cool to talk on camera. I like talking on camera, whatever. But I didn't know how many people actually wanted to be able to do it. You know what I'm saying? to me, it's like I've always, and it's never to sound egotistical, I've always been on camera in somehow, some way. You know what I'm saying? Whether it be acting, stand up, something, I've always been on camera. But I didn't know until I really got, I think it was my second year going to San Diego Comic-Con, when I found out so many people were like, yo, I want to be able to do what you do. And I was like, you do? You know?
But like, isn't it crazy how before, like, shit, like this, what you're doing and what I'm trying to build up was with myself, is you never picture it back, shit, I'm sounding old, 20 years ago, where you doing interviews, you're doing by yourself podcasts, you're doing,
man,
there wasn't a way to economically survive. And now you can go, you can get sponsorships for your essentially podcast, for your gaming, for whatever. They send you to, well, when we could, to San Diego Comic-Con, to any other type of Comic-Cons, to interview with celebrities that you like, what the shit am I doing here? But now you can.
I remember, so I, like maybe my second or third year in stand-up, I got asked to work on a documentary. It was like a documentary acting thing, but I didn't realize I was playing the security guard to one of the very first popular YouTube stars. His name is Keenan Cahill. He's the little kid who used to lip sync all the videos. The one where he had 50 Cent come in his actual crib. Yeah. Like, I never thought anything. And I was like, yo, he's big on YouTube. Again, at this time, I'm like, the fuck do you mean? And when I checked, I was like, what the fuck? Like, he was huge on that. He was huge on that. And so I didn't realize YouTube could be a thing. I never thought that the internet could be a thing that you could completely monetize outside of a .com business, if that makes sense. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, for sure.
Sitting in front of a camera talking about shit, and like people want to hear you for X amount of how long or whatever. And like I didn't ever thought of it that way. But now, like once I learned how, you can make money on YouTube. And the moment I learned that, it was like, it take way too much to try to make money on YouTube.
And then what's worse too, now YouTube is like making sure you work for it hard, because before, like even 3-4 years ago, the net for it was much smaller, so you're able to monetize yourself. Granted, you have to make $100 first before you ever receive anything, but still, it's like the way they monetize, and especially now with all the struggles that YouTube has gone through,
YouTube keep pushing their goalposts back. When they realize people figure out how to make money, they start pushing their goalposts back more and more.
But
that's what I was like, I'm not worried about. When I started seeing that, though, not to cut you off, that's when I started seeing that. That's when I was like, okay, I'm not going to focus all my energy on trying to make money off YouTube. Granted, I know a bunch of people who are living off of it, and probably to them, you know what I'm saying? Like, all respect to them. But at the same time, I can't. That would require me sitting up here watching every single trailer, every single movie, every single TV show, damn near, and just trying to record, edit, get it out. Like I can't. I already got too much fire as far as professional. Not to mention, I'm a goddamn father of 2, and even though I'm not like right with them, I have to be fully active in whatever I can, especially in this day and age. So man, listen,
the struggles, man. I hear you.
Hella struggles.
But yeah, no. There's one thing I want to talk to you about. Just this past Thursday, the MLS League or the St. Louis finally revealed their team, and it is the worst sounding name ever.
What is it?
It's the St. Louis City SC, with the SC standing for Soccer Club. Well, the MLS League takes a lot from the European League, like a lot of their names.
Yeah, I get that,
or whatever. But I'm like, the name is just
St. Louis City SC, the SLCSC. That's hella long. But then again, remember, now we got the Washington football team until otherwise noted. So I mean, when you, it would sound weirder if we didn't have the professional, the NFL Washington football team. You know what I'm saying? Like, I would think that would be the only thing. Like, I get it. It's long and it sounds weird as shit. Like, you expect some kind of mascot name. But when now you think about it, there's the Washington football team.
Yes. Well, whatever. I'm just going to call it the STL team. Steel City, whatever the hell. Because when you're in St. Louis and even in Chicago, you don't call it St. Louis, you call it the STL, or you're going to the Lou.
Yeah, yep.
That's what it is.
That's what I'm saying. I think that's what makes it the worst. Like no one says the St. Louis City. Everybody says either the Lou, you know what I'm saying, St. Louis, like that really sounds hella weird.
It's a thing, and like I'm like, come on, they could at least call it freaking St. Louis United, at least, and that's even better. But whatever, you know.
So many United teams, though, it seems like it's a lot. Is it because I don't even know Manchester United, but I think it's a couple of DC. Isn't it DC United or something like that?
But yeah, it's whatever.
Hey man, you gotta just sit. I think that make you want to wonder, like, who is the person in charge of coming up with the team name? Who is the person responsible that their job is to in marketing is to do the one thing that will, at the end of the day, matter?
Millions of names too, like they passed up. But the cool thing is, though, is that St. Louis is the first major league team, at least in the States, that is owned primarily by a woman. Because this is like the before St. Louis got allowed, we went through 3 or 4 tries to start up a soccer team here in the city, and then nobody can get it done. And then this lady came out of nowhere and said, "Let's do this." And then here we are 2 years later, and she's I think the only woman that owns that is the primary owner of a sports team.
That's dope.
Even from NFL to like the big leagues or the men's leagues, like at least, because I don't know about women league.
I think because Jeannie Buss would count as that too now.
Right.
I think Jeannie Buss would count for that for the Lakers, if I'm not mistaken. I believe she's the majority owner.
Right. But I mean, originally she was like when it happened. At least she was like the first.
In the inception of the team. Yes. Yes. Dude.
But
man. Hey man, listen, ain't nothing wrong with that. I want to see more of it, and I want to see more of it, and like the conversations that everybody been having about like having more women owners in the WNBA, which would only make fucking sense.
I'm surprised it hasn't happened before.
I am too.
I get in a perfect world, this it shouldn't be happening with all the social issues, with everything. Sadly, we don't live in that, but like still, like I don't understand why. Like honestly, like it might sound dumb or I'm uneducated, but I just don't understand why that's not a thing.
I don't think it does. I don't think it sounds either one. I think the fact is, when the discussion has come up before, like I forgot who it was from the MLS. I think she brought it up, or former WNBA stars, one of the two. But she was like, "Yo, what about where's Oprah? Where's Ellen? Where's all these people?"
Right. For the women representing,
these high profile women. Like we're not like there are women who are under their status, of course, that have money that make money we don't talk about. But these are two of some of the biggest ones we talk about worldwide.
Especially Oprah, who is not only a woman, but she's a colored woman. Tell me how many colored people own something important. Or that are on that level of money and power and recognition as her.
And the thing is, I think the problem becomes, this is something I thought about a while ago too. Now I'm glad you brought this shit up. Like, I think the issue becomes the optics of, if they say I own a team, do I have to be necessarily involved consistently? You get what I'm saying?
Right.
Like, some people don't want to have to deal with the day-to-day operations of that, and because of ownership, it's automatically, they become like the quarterback. They
you can own it, but if something starts going on, they start questioning you as the owner. So
right, because they're not questioning your GMs, your managers, or anything like that. They directly questioning your ass. And so it's weird. It's like the door is open. Like what we talk so much about, representation for women in sports. And on a higher level, especially how we talk about getting the WNBA women paid. And we know they don't bring in the same amount of revenue, but shit, pay them enough to where it doesn't look like it's a slap in the face. Because like when you hear about what
I don't know about the WNBA or whatever. How do they get paid more than the minor leagues in basketball or in baseball? Or is it about the same? Because if that's the case, that's telling a lot about that something is incredibly wrong.
Let me see. WNBA pay. The pay gap. Oh, there's a whole article about pay gap. So listen to this. So the average pay, this was in, let me make sure I got the year of this article right. Okay, continue. Cool. My fucking ad blocker pops up, and then all these things be like, "Hey man, can you let the ad through, please? Like, we want you to see
we want to get paid."
Okay, so this is from February.
This
is from February. The average pay for the WNBA player last year was $116,000, and the men in the NBA were played about $7.5 million on average during the current season. And even though the men play twice as many games that are offered and have a bigger fan base and sell more tickets, the gap is still overskewed. Now, I think that's the reason the justification for it is like, well, the dudes play 82 games and not mentioning the
doesn't matter though.
And then they talk about how the viewership, because there isn't a lot of ad viewership. What'd you say?
I think that's the point, is that they don't, if you don't, like, you have to search for it, because they're not usually in the ESPN channels or whatever. You have to go out of your way to look for those women games, whether it be WNBA, if there's even a league for baseball for women, or the women's soccer. Like, you have to look for it. It's not advertised like it is for like baseball, football, or soccer. This is
the thing, and then a lot of people, I get it. And I get the upset and the frustration a lot of people have with it. Like, I agree. Like, the women should be, they play just as hard. I think it comes down to the numbers on the business end, and it's fucked up to have to compare it that way. But as a business major, that's the first thing you're gonna look at, as the numbers. Like, what's the odds? Okay, let's just say, for instance, let's say the WNBA, and I think it has been played on the ESPN networks, like the primary ESPN. Right, during a prime spot that they were having the NBA in. Okay, so let's say we're in the off season of the NBA, and on that Saturday that would be a game. You put a WNBA game there. The question is, are you gonna get as close, not the same, but at least close to the same amount of eyes during that same time?
No,
and see, that's the thing.
And what's worse too is that, like, for the NBA, let's keep going in this train. You got the stars. You got your Kobe, may he rest in peace, or MJ, or Pippen, or LeBron, and so on and so forth. You got your names, right? And they go on social media. They talk. They go on when it's not on season. They go on interviews, wherever have you. But it's not the same for the women's league. There is no.
But nobody's allowing them. But that's the thing. Nobody's offering up those interviews for them. They have stars. You know, Candace Parker, when Lisa Leslie, let's go to the OGs and to the nows. They've always had stars, but you've never had these outlets directly reaching out saying, we want to interview these stars, because these outlets will put more of an effort for it. You know what I'm saying? Hey, let's talk to such and such on the Phoenix Mercury, or the Sparks, or the Lynx, and blah, blah, blah. Let's continually push them. Then more people will see them and be like, well, shit, let me check out a game. You know what I'm saying? But I don't know. That's shit they don't do, and it's unfortunate.
And you will think too that to make money, you have to invest money in them, and I don't think they're not. And I don't, it just doesn't make sense. Why?
Yeah, they don't invest in them at all. I mean, it doesn't make sense, but it's when you have no belief in it. The WNBA has been around. I'm trying to find out how long. Let me Google this, because I want to see how long has the WNBA has been around for 24 years, dog. 24 years. It came out in 96. You're telling me that you don't think this is worth investing in? Like,
how many teams do they have? Is it like just about as many as the 12? Okay,
that's 12 teams. But again,
shit. Even the MLS had lower, and has been growing ever since too. So
the MLS. Well, here's the thing: soccer's a bigger sport. Soccer's bigger than
it's become recently a bigger sport, but compared to the other three major sports: baseball, soccer, football, and basketball.
Domestically, right?
Yeah, domestically, it's
domestic. That's what I mean. Internationally, of course, it's a bigger sport than everything.
Yes, it's the best sport ever. That's just me because I'm Latino.
Yes. I've always, man, I remember growing up in the South Side, like we'd go past one park, this is Marquette Park, and we'd be like, these motherfuckers is playing 909 soccer. Like how many people on what team?
Oh my God,
I ever actually watched an actual soccer match. So you didn't know how many people were actually on the field at the top 14. I was like, how many motherfuckers need to be on the field? Like it's like 20 people. That's how you used to see it because if you never watched it, you don't know.
You don't know. But I mean, I'm a bit sidetracked, but I've grown watching soccer, football. I call it football for all of my life. I played it.
That's football.
It's. And then not even get me started with the women playing soccer. Oh my God! Talk about gorgeous women. Jesus,
hey bro, Christ. Let me tell you something. Look, I was watching the Women's World Cup at once because I wasn't gonna watch. I wasn't even gonna. So for people who like go watch this later and be like, "Well, wouldn't you watch the men's?" No, I wasn't.
U.S. team sucks. Oh my God, it's horrible.
I'm just saying, not a soccer fan. You wouldn't catch me vested in either one. But then when I started hearing about the women were whipping ass 13-2, I was like, well, let me check this out a little bit.
More than any man's soccer team ever. Aside from probably Germany beating Brazil, which was fantastic at the time, I loved it. They're the only team that's ever done it. 13-0, 13-1. It's incredible.
I think the crazy thing about soccer to me is, like, it's 90 minutes straight, right?
Plus
whatever else is on the end. But the thing is, with American sports, because we're so stuck on advertisers and sponsors and all this shit, we will extend out a game. Because if you look at it, basketball is 48 minutes. Football is 60 minutes, right? But when you put
in between, soccer is differently though.
Soccer game is just, this is what it is, about an hour and a half, boom. And I've never people so drunk quick. In an hour and a half, like I just was like, well, damn.
Not only that, in 60 minutes, I think it's about 60 minutes plus at a time. It's all straight soccer. Then you get a 10-minute commercial, and then that's it. There's no other commercials in between, no matter what. And it's huge everywhere.
I can see that because the action is that's legit non-stop action.
Yes, it can change in a dime anytime.
I mean, the endurance, like I've always wondered, as seeing athletes and as being an athlete, I respect soccer players the most. Their endurance, like my fear is ever somebody saying, yo, we want you to train like a soccer player, and me just shooting myself in the throat because I don't think I can do it. Like, dude, I'm watching these players, dude. Like the cardio level they have is so
insane.
Bro, you see players sweat on every sport, but these dudes, the whole entire gear is drenched in sweat because they've been doing nothing but running. And then the best part, I'm being this facetiously, is these motherfuckers don't be out of breath. They stop and they're like, yeah, so okay.
And they keep going harder. Like they could turn it on a dime and then just take it to a 200 level. You're like,
bro. No, fuck that. Let that be me. I'm running for 3.5 minutes straight. And they just stop.
This is coming from a dude who used to play soccer almost on a professional level back in Mexico. You don't want to get I got a concussion when I was in training. Even when I was like in middle school, I went to a training, one of my team's training camp, and I wasn't paying attention, and boom, soccer ball to the head. I went to the ground. I was like, the fuck. I was like, I was seeing stars everywhere. Like the whole team just huddled around me. Like, are you okay? I'm like, no. The hell? It's like their power on their legs. Oh my God, these dudes can like power, like lift you on their legs alone.
Let me tell you something. Somebody kicked me with a damn soccer ball with that much force. We fighting. You can't tell. No, it was a mistake. After I wake up and regain consciousness. And if I don't think I'm Superman on the field,
Jesus though,
bro.
Yeah, no, it's insane. But yet, dude, even now, picture the women too. Like, I will not lie. It wasn't until 2-3 years ago when the U.S. women's soccer team destroyed everybody else.
Yeah,
I wasn't that interested in women's soccer team, and then I saw them. Oh my God, they kick so much ass.
That's what I'm saying. Like, because I remember us talking about it on Collider Sports Time. And then I started watching the games and I was like, the fuck? Like, they out here going like, one thing I've always learned and I've always appreciated is, there's going to be some ass backwards asshole dudes who will always say, oh, well, the women don't play as hard. The women ain't playing as tough as men. Like, what the fuck are you watching?
I want to see them go against those women one-on-one.
Dude, every dude that ever says that cannot. No. Every dude.
Never.
Every dude.
Shit, even in wrestling, I don't want to wrestle against those women. Are you kidding me? Have you seen their arms? Like better definition than many, like 90% of men.
This is true. I give a woman. So the beautiful thing about the professional wrestling world is, from everybody what's seen it, the choreography, as we call it.
Yeah.
So the beautiful thing also on top of that for men and women are cameras. Here's why I say this. Cameras add bulk to people that don't have it. So,
are you referring to the women's, just every time you just see a woman, especially for a WWE, you just see cake everywhere?
Well, I'm talking about dudes. Like, a lot of the dudes, you see a lot of the dudes who be cut up and everybody think they just massive as fuck, and like, no, they're just extremely cut. Like, their diet keeps them extremely cut. So when the camera bulks them out, they look big. And now, don't get me wrong, there are a few that are like, this is a fucking horse. You know what I'm saying? Like, this is a fucking horse.
But I'm speaking as an outsider and as a fan. Don't most of them also just on Gorilla right before they go on, they're working out, making sure they're working out, and also like dehydrating a little bit?
Not the dehydrating, no, but they're always pumping. They're always doing push-ups, something to pump themselves, get their blood going. And then when you work out, everything is more defined at that point. So yeah, right in Gorilla, right before they about to go out, before they match after everything, they pump it up. They're pumping themselves up. So when they come out, not only are they oiled up, but their muscles are on peak. So that's what you see. Like, if you ever notice, you see somebody doing a promo, it's like, they don't look as big as when they don't. It sounds weird to say this. You look at a dude doing a promo with his regular street clothes on, you be like, he don't look as big as he do when he only wearing drawers. Like, that's how it seems. And as having been a wrestler, it's the same thing. You be like, damn, bro, till you take your clothes off, and it doesn't sound like.
But you know what? Who was smart for men wrestlers? John Cena. He got them jorts on all his career, except maybe when he started. Because
that's a lucky thing, because that's a conscious decision with creative and him, because you can always say, they could have said for the longest, yo, we just want you to stay. We want you in wrestling gear no matter what, like traditional wrestling gear. And for him to be like, well, what if I take the character this way, and the best thing that works with him is jorts? And then you got to be like, jorts? And he's like, yes, jorts.
Better than the trunks or the Spanx.
Well,
everything is on display.
Well, the problem, it's not even a display, it's the comfortability and the flexibility option, because you got to get the right type of jean shorts legitimately that allows you to move without busting them open. I mean, granted, you might not see what you don't see behind the scenes is you see him wear a pair of shorts. That might be the only time he wears that pair of shorts ever. Right. There might be a new pair of shorts set for every TV appearance on purpose. It's multiple types of that same brand because of the flexibility, but you just won't see it. You won't see that same pair again. Right. Because denim wears and tears no matter what. Through natural progress. And that's just from walking in denim. You know what I'm saying? Walking in denim just wears and tears. Now imagine you running, jumping, moving consistently, constantly working legs out. The wear and tear is done quickly.
Out of this world.
You know what I'm saying? Yeah. So like for me, I wear a singlet. I used to do just a singlet with the, you know what I'm saying? I used to do a singlet, my compression shorts, knee pads, boot, elbow pads, all that. Well, as I grew in my career, I was always fond of a t-shirt and shorts, but I was also really selective of how I did it. I didn't do the t-shirt where it was just the sleeves are just cut off. No, My t-shirts are always cut to like a tank type thing.
Right.
So it shows my traps and everything. And potentially you can see the strap. There's like little things you have to see. You'll see the cut off of the tank top like the shirt like a tank top. You'll see the strap of the singlet, which is similar. The color scheme is similar to whatever the color scheme on my gear is. So like for instance, I have my supervillain shirts I wear in the ring. So some I have that have the red on them, right? So the singlets you'll see will be more than likely red, white, and black. You'll see the straps of that. I have a blue supervillain shirt that now I'm ordering a blue singlet specifically for that. So you know what I'm saying? So you get all these different elements. Like my next one I'm gonna order another red and white singlet because I'm gonna do a red. I have a Black Villains Matter shirt, and so I'm cutting that one in the tank. And then I'm gonna buy some red shorts and get the words Urban Gladiator put on them, get the Urban Gladiator on those shorts, and then have the red and white singlet. Now,
this is a joke, but you're gonna put it on your cake too, like just the back of your short, just like supervillain, Mr. Washington.
I don't want no ass shots. We gotta get a shot of his ass. Say villain, like that sounds real. It's like he a stripper on top of that. Like, because I used to have, so my first pair of shorts, I had this dude, a homie of mine, who he still wrestles in Chicago to this day. He's one of the founders of freelance wrestling, Isaiah Velasquez. Okay. He made my shorts, and my shorts were like super long though. Like, so I would have to roll them up because they would say trauma on the side, but they were super fucking long. So I got a pair of shorts that were actually shorter. I lost that gear, but my goal now is to have shorts that they come like right above my knee, just right above, because if they're right above my knee, I don't have to worry about them getting caught in my knee when I'm moving and constantly trying to readjust them. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. So right above the knee gives me that perfect length where I can move around and flexibility, and also the material too. Like there's always a cotton, but it's got to be run the wrist. So it's like a cotton with a bit of a stretchy fabric to it, so I can move. And even when and it's breathability, to be honest, because I'm already layered the fuck up.
I was gonna say, like, you must get hot because not only your body heat, then you got another man's body heat right on top of you. Like, Jesus.
Dude, I get so, like, because I'm wearing compression shorts, a singlet, the t-shirt, the shorts, 2 layers of knee pads to protect my knees. I don't wear the knee braces. I just wear 2 layers of knee pads. I have on my socks, my ankle braces, then my boots. My whole body is just thermogenically like producing.
You know this as well as I do. Big dudes, we generate our own heat. We work at 70 degrees or lower.
Dude, I was so like when I was bigger, bro, I was not only was I carrying all that those layers, but all that body weight. When I was 200 pounds heavier, dog, like I could move, but I still be so fucking hot. And now, because I've been working out so much and doing all these Focus T25 joints and all this like movement-based joints, I sweat quickly now because my body knows sweat quick. And so I can move. Like when I go into training now, when I'm in training on like Tuesdays and Thursdays, like I'm in the ring and I'm sweating in about like 25 minutes. But also my dumb ass. So this is something my dumb ass has to stop doing. Like on Tuesdays, training is Tuesdays and Thursdays.
Right.
Well, I do Focus T25 with my group Monday through Friday. On Tuesdays and Thursdays, I'm gonna have to do my exercise myself earlier in the day because we do 5:30 p.m. Pacific time, right? So by the time we're done, it's about 6. By the time it's like 7:30, I'm about to head in the ring to train. That is not enough rest time for my body. So like I'm in there and I'm trying to give it that good old college try, and I'm around this motherfucker dying. Dude, I did it this past Tuesday.
Oh no!
So Tuesday we worked out, damn good workouts, and then I went in the ring, and we was in the ring not even for like it wasn't even an hour and a half. We were there for 3 hours working out. So me and my homeboy who rode together, my boy, he's starting to train. We went together, and then I was like, "Yo, let's stop at Ralph's, bro. I need something to eat. I ain't got nothing at the house to cook, and I don't even have. Matter of fact, I do got stuff at the house to cook. I just don't have the strength to cook." Man, I bought all type of shit to grab, and as I'm walking, my body, my adrenaline is wearing off. So I'm like, "Ow!" When I got home, finally went to sleep and woke up the next one Wednesday morning, I woke up in sections. No, it wasn't even sore. I had to wake up in sections because I couldn't move my body at one speed. I was like, I was like, here's the arm. Ugh. All right, let's swing one leg off the bed. Come on, Lord. Ugh. Let's get another one, Jesus. Ugh. Man, I'm telling you, I was in pain.
Yeah, I imagine. Well, never mind. I can't say I can imagine because I've never done wrestling or pro entertainment. This sport, because we both know Vince McMahon doesn't like to call it wrestling.
Not at all.
Speaking of which, are you happy that Keith Lee is your NXT champion and your North American champion?
Well, now he's not North American anymore.
Oh,
yeah, he had to relinquish. Of course, it always happens. You have to relinquish one.
I think that's a dumb idea, but that's just me.
I love it. I love it that they decided to double strap him.
Oh, for sure.
Go ahead. No, it just shows how much they believe in him.
See, but but that's not Vince McMahon, though, is it? That's Triple H and Shawn Michaels who are in charge of the NXT. Yes, Vince takes care of all of it.
Vince still has a say so. Vince has some say so.
But like, my worry is that it's because of the pandemic and everything's going on. They're just doing what they can to produce product.
This is where I would disagree with you on that. After Survivor Series, Vince McMahon became super high on Keith.
Really?
Just during that whole little session.
I love Keith. Don't get me wrong. I love Keith Lee.
No, I'm just saying that whole sequence he had with Roman Reigns in the ring. That made Vince McMahon love him.
Fair enough. He always liked big dudes.
Yes. No. Well, he does, but also he likes big dudes.
Like the charisma of him.
Keith can move, and not only that, you put Keith in a WWE audience, not an NXT audience, even though they're both technically the same. But you put him in a WWE audience, and the WWE audience fucking loved him.
That's always my worries about bringing the NXT people, because they don't know what to do with them.
Yeah,
you know what I mean? Like, look at
Tyler Breeze.
Tyler Breeze. He is a fantastic wrestler and a fantastic talker. You would think incredible in NXT. What have they done with him in quote unquote the main roster?
Oh, I can tell you what the deal is with that. His gimmick only works on NXT. You got to. So this is something I've had this discussion with a lot of people. So the reason a lot of talent cannot go past the NXT brand and be successful is because NXT is a glorified indie show. It's a well-produced indie show.
Yeah.
Some gimmicks are well-based for the indies. Now, when they do takeovers, that gives that indie show a WWE type feel. And the NXT universe as a whole is they know what NXT is. They know NXT is a giant indie show. The WWE universe is not that same thing, right?
Right.
Now, when you have some major indie talent, though, who go in NXT, who the WWE universe already knows, that's why it's easily able to translate over. There's very few from the system of the WWE farming system. I mean, it takes a while now, especially now in this day and age, that the WWE universe gets used to. Randy Orton is a WWE product. Batista, a WWE product.
Right.
John, a WWE product. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
But you somebody like a Finn Balor. Finn was cool because
anywhere though.
Finn worked. Because Finn was an indie darling. He's an indie darling. You have Kevin Owens, an indie darling.
Another fantastic wrestler too.
Right. Cesaro, indie darling. People who, I'm not trying to belittle it when I say it, but Shinsuke being Japan, people who follow the indies follow Japan. You see what I'm saying?
Especially with the New Japan Pro Wrestling.
That's what I'm talking about. Yeah,
it's fantastic. Like, he's an amazing wrestler.
Those people work. But then you get a Tyler Breeze, who his gimmick works in Full Sail when it ain't no more than 1,000 people. When it's just him on his selfie phone. It's an indie show. It works. Think about it. The Ascension worked in NXT.
Yeah.
You
and then didn't know what to do with them.
Roster, it didn't work.
Yep.
It didn't
know what to do with them. Which I'm kind of worried about I was going to say the next one. I'm worried about the Street Profit because they're fantastic.
Street Profits need a crowd.
Yeah.
Street Profit. The only hang up with the Street Profits is for them to work. They're dope in the ring and they're dope in personalities, but it needs the crowd. It needs the crowd.
Yeah.
And granted, they've still been holding on with what they've been doing, but the Street Profits
it's just getting tiring. I like that they're doing more production, like for AJ Styles and the Undertaker's last fight. I like the House of Fun or with Bray Wyatt. With Bray, anything to he's fantastic right now. But that's because there's no crowd, and I want to see how it works continuing from now. I like that they made Braun Strowman finally, after years, the champion. But now, because there's no crowds. Granted, we have the NXT, the wrestlers from the NXT over at Raw and SmackDown, but while it does create some noise, it's, cheer now, everybody cheers. Boo now, everybody boos. But it's, I don't know.
Well, here's the thing. So you have a lot of, the pandemic has been good and bad for the WWE. The best part is it made Vince McMahon have to think outside the box.
Finally.
And so the cinematic matches we've been getting have been working because they know what to do with them. They have enough routine. When it comes to certain characters, some characters do or don't need an audience. But the problem is, as a wrestler, you're trained
for the audience,
the crowd, no matter what. You have a Braun Strowman who he should have been a monster all the time
from the beginning. But you made him have to be this beloved. He can be a face, but you made him this play with the crowd face. Yeah,
and so you had to change it. The beautiful thing about the Fiend worked regardless because he's the stuff of nightmares.
Yeah.
And go ahead.
Sorry. I was going to ask, do you think they made him because they're trying to make another Undertaker, even though there's never going to be another Undertaker?
They've been doing that, though. That's nothing new. Bray was always supposed to be the heir to the throne. Bray was always the original heir to the throne was Mordecai. That didn't work. Bray Wyatt became the heir to the throne. And now it's working. That episode of Raw, 1 week of Raw, when they turned Raw into a nightmare, Raw was the entire episode of the Firefly Funhouse.
Yeah.
It was the best. And think about this. That is on a live show. And they turned the whole show into a living nightmare because of one character.
I think what finally clicked is when John Cena essentially gave the L to Bray Wyatt. I think that signified a change of guard.
No, actually, I disagree. And here's why I say that. Here's why. What it did was it let John Cena, it did for John Cena, it made Cena realize the real bad guy is yourself. You're the worst person throughout all of it. And he finally had to openly admit that. The film has worked from jump because he would appear out of nowhere. We started learning the clues when the lights go down.
Right.
And he would attack. When you would have these attacks happen until you finally had the moment he debuted to wrestle at SummerSlam of last year. And that entrance was the most scariest shit. I think it was just literally him walking with a lantern that is Bray Wyatt's head with his face. That entrance changed everything. Then you had the matches with Seth Rollins, where in order to beat Seth Rollins, he would literally, in order for Seth Rollins to beat him, he would have damn near had to kill him. It was, again, it makes sense to not have the pin happen. And a lot of people were angry about it. But then when it came to Goldberg, everybody thinks the Goldberg loss hurt the Fiend. It didn't. What it did, it was they just needed a quick way to get the belt off him because they had to they didn't want Roman to beat the Fiend.
Yeah, no, fair enough. But it didn't have to be with him. You know what I mean?
But there was no one. There was nobody else. Unfortunately, when you had Fox, you got to go back as a lot of things. If you let me give me a second with this one.
Take it away, Professor.
Fox wanted the Fiend. Fox wanted them. The Fiend was going to stay on Raw. The Fiend was never going to go off Raw.
Really?
Fox wanted the Fiend. So, in order to bring the Fiend to SmackDown in a reasonable way, he needs the title, right? The problem with that is, at WrestleMania, you're supposed to make Roman the champ for SmackDown. Then you bring him over. Now you got to figure out, we do not want to have Roman destroy him. Because that would be, we don't. We need something to be the mediator behind it. No matter what it is, it's going, no matter what or who it is that's the mediator in between. Hypothetically speaking, Chris Jericho could have came back and beat the Fiend, and it still would have pissed people off. You get what I'm saying?
Jericho would have worked out better because everybody can trust Jericho, and fans yes, Goldberg has established this from the WCW days and a couple years into the WWE at the time. But Jericho is Jericho. He is an icon, a living icon for a reason because he is still fantastic at it.
No, I get what you're saying, but
you know what I mean?
It doesn't, but people still would have been mad regardless.
Well, fans are fans, of course.
They would have been mad no matter who took it. So who better to take the brunt of that heat real quick because you just needed it real quick? Who else to take the brunt of it than a part-timer? Not somebody.
Yeah, no, you're right.
Not somebody who's going to be there for the long run and still got to hear it.
But doesn't also affect. But that in itself doesn't that affect the value of the championship belt though? Because I mean, yes, the WWE, they love their history. They show it in the beginning of the show.
Right. Let me tell you why. Because we're talking the Universal title. Doesn't matter. We're not talking the WWE
title.
We're talking about we're not talking the WWE title. We're talking the Universal.
Hold on, I forgot. The Universal title is what the WCW Heavyweight Championship was?
It's basically all that. Yeah. It's basically that rehashed.
Yeah.
It's the Universal title. They won't tell you they say it's a brand new title. It's the Universal title. Its lineage is not anything real.
Right.
Its lineage is only maybe 5-6 years of that. So it's not the WWE title. So if you play the Fiend gets knocked out by Goldberg, no matter how, at another glorified house show, because that's all the Saudi Arabia shows are.
Yes.
Okay.
With all the controversy behind them, yeah.
Right. You got a glorified house show. You know, if you're gonna have Roman beat Goldberg. There's no problem with that. Then the pandemic hits. Now the pandemic hits, Roman can't work because Roman can potentially die. Right. So you need to finally pull it. You need to do something that's going to make it look worthwhile to beat Goldberg. And the only other person you have, you don't go back to the Fiend. You know why? Because again, let's say this is over with quickly. Because at the time the pandemic started, let's say the pandemic's over in 2 months. You don't want to go these 2 months and then at SummerSlam, if everything's open, you drop it to fucking Roman. You don't do that. So what do? You find the next person you think can finally run with it because there's no loss to anything. Braun Strowman.
Oh, well, yeah.
Strowman, it doesn't affect you either way or the other. Strowman can get over.
He looks strong too. Out of it.
Strong. Him beating Goldberg is believable. And so you can have that carry on until whatever. Now, the fact that they've done 2 matches with Braun versus Bray Wyatt lets you know what's about to happen at SummerSlam.
You think so? Do you like this new angle with Alexa Bliss? Because for me, I have the biggest crush on Alexa Bliss because she's fantastic off in the screen, in the back, behind the screen. But
I think Alexa Bliss is about to be Sister Abigail.
You think so? I mean, yeah, I seen the theories behind it, and like the behind it, like the stuff, you know. I think it's leading up to it.
It's been the longest storyline we've never paid attention to.
But because they ruined it though, because not Braun,
Bray.
Thank you, Bray. Put on essentially, you know, costume of the Sister Abigail, and then everybody hated that, and they dropped it, and people honestly forgot about it, unless that was our gigantic plan from the beginning to people to forget about Sister Abigail.
Bring it back in the swamp match, then you retease it in the swamp match like, yo, has she been Sister Abigail this entire time? Which would be the best, because it would explain the Little Miss Bliss, the happy person, because you walked away from what you really were.
Right.
It would explain all of it.
And she's always been saying twisted from the beginning, Twisted Bliss or what?
You've
Five Feet of Fury or whatever.
Right. It's the longest angle we've been worked for the longest. So then you get all that, right?
Right.
You got all this. You remember, you had the Miz face Bray Wyatt.
You had Brian face
Bray Wyatt.
Mm-hmm.
Everybody that's faced Bray Wyatt has more than likely beat Bray Wyatt.
Mm-hmm.
But you cannot beat straight up, minus the Goldberg little glitch. You can't beat the Fiend.
Right. You again. I bow to you because you're in the ring. You're behind this. You know the scenes, but like, I'm just speaking as a fan. But I don't know. It's interesting what they're doing with her. And
now, don't get me wrong. The whole Alexa Bliss thing might be a giant swerve. It might be Nikki Bliss. I mean, it might be Nikki Cross.
That's I don't know, because wasn't she originally going for the the women's?
Don't matter.
No,
take the titles out the picture. Nikki Cross was a member of Sanity.
Yeah,
right.
And then that fell through.
Right, but we never knew where Nikki Cross came from.
Right.
We just know she just popped up as a member of Sanity. That could be the biggest swerve behind all of this. We all see that it's Alexa Bliss,
right?
But it's really Nikki Cross.
I don't know. It's gonna be interesting. I liked it though. Like, I like how they're also making Braun just go insane, like saying, "Oh, whenever you go up against Bray Wyatt, you change, you become something different, something darker." And it's
but you got to think about it, and it's the truth.
Yeah,
everybody. The only person that didn't get a chance to do it was Finn Balor, because they shipped his ass off to NXT again.
And I hate it because Finn Balor, the demon. I hated they never used the demon.
Well, I also hate the demon now. I personally, here's why I hate the demon. So when you look at Bray Wyatt as a wrestler, even all the other iterations of Bray Wyatt, you see one certain type of wrestler, right?
Mm-hmm.
The Fiend is completely different.
Right.
Right?
Mm-hmm.
When you see Finn Balor and then you see the demon, all you get is face paint, body paint.
Yeah. I
That's
mean,
it.
He physically changes too, though.
No, he doesn't. No, he doesn't. No, he doesn't.
You don't think so?
Go ahead. When we done doing this, watch Finn Balor matches, then watch the demon matches. There is no difference between the two in moveset or anything. The beautiful thing about the Fiend and Bray Wyatt is that they are literally two separate entities. Like the Fiend may do a few moves that Bray will do.
Right.
But as a whole, Bray Wyatt doesn't do the neck snap. The Fiend does. Bray Wyatt never did the mandible claw. The Fiend does. The Fiend is a completely different element. The demon, if the demon was done differently, if he had a different move set for the demon as opposed to Finn Balor, I would have more believability in that match. But it was as we started seeing the Fiend more and more, I was like, oh, all we did was amp up the entrance and the body paint. That's it.
Yeah, no, you're right.
But when it comes to Bray Wyatt, especially this new psychotic Mr. Rogers Bray Wyatt, he's a sociopath.
Yeah.
The new Bray Wyatt's a sociopath. And he's a certain way, and he wrestles a certain way, and he's also very fucking weak on purpose. Think about it. The new Bray Wyatt that we see, when he gets hit and beat up on, and when he starts to try to snap, he pulls himself back.
Yeah.
He has mastered this gimmick. He has mastered this because he pulls himself back and goes back to weak Bray.
So you think, so you think that he's going to become, like, he's going to get the same mileage that Undertaker did too, even though he started his career a bit later than Mark Calloway?
I mean, but the thing is, the mileage part, as far as the years, it all depends on the person.
I mean, not physically, but like character work wise.
Yes, that's why you don't, and here's why. Because again, Vince, Triple H, all them in the back have learned one important thing: you don't use the Fiend for every match. Think about it. If the Fiend was in every single match he's had, we'd get tired of seeing him.
Right.
We ain't seen the Fiend in a match for a while. You get the Fiend again. Now you interested in the Fiend.
Sure.
If the Fiend wins, you see more of the Fiend.
Do you think that's why they bring Brock Lesnar? Like, again, I respect him as an athlete, but I personally think his matches are boring. Nothing to the man or whatever. I just really another squash match. Yay!
Let me tell you something. Brock can care less how you think about his matches.
Oh,
you know
for
why?
sure. He's making millions out of just being 5 minutes in the.
And you, as the fans in general, are still gonna watch.
Unfortunately.
People can talk shit all day, every day on social media, how they not finna watch it. People still finna watch his matches because it's Brock Lesnar no matter what.
What pisses me off though about it is that he can do just about anything.
Not anymore. He can't. Not too much since he had the diverticulitis.
Oh, damn.
He can't do. He can't be the same next big thing as he was since he had that condition. And so the way the beast level, the UFC Brock, that again, he's changed his gimmick. The UFC beast Brock Lesnar is completely different from the next big thing Brock Lesnar that we used to have.
Mm-hmm.
You see what I'm saying? People gotta look at these. We see the name and just focus on the name.
Well, that's because majority of us are fans. You know what I mean? We've seen this like the WWE fans. We see it as
fans. I'll give you another person since you bring up fans. The Undertaker. The one thing that allowed for longevity in the Undertaker's career is the change and evolutions of the Undertaker.
Because he understood who he was and he had more control of his character.
But that's because you know that. But that's because again, he knows his character, right? But again, apply that same theory to a Brock Lesnar and a Bray Wyatt and a Randy Orton and a John Cena.
Yeah, but the thing all those have in common, minus I don't know if Bray Wyatt does, but all of them have an ear with Vince. All of them can talk to Vince.
You think that Bray Wyatt does not have an ear with Vince McMahon when his idea for a brand new? Let me let you know a behind the scenes secret. Vince McMahon has to approve any and every gimmick, no matter what, any and every change, no matter if you decide to cut your hair, Vince McMahon has to approve it. So Vince McMahon understands every single character that is on that roster, no matter what we may call about him and say him. Vince McMahon has the approval of that. Every roster that comes, every wrestler that comes through the curtains on Raw or SmackDown have been approved by Vince McMahon for what they are. So Bray Wyatt, all the evolutions of Bray Wyatt started out as Waylon, as a new age Waylon Mercy.
Wasn't he Husky Harris though originally?
Yeah, but let's go
past.
I'm not talking Husky Harris. I'm talking Bray Wyatt.
Okay,
I'm talking Bray Wyatt. Again, Husky Harris, yeah. Remember, Batista was Leviathan. If we're going to go that route.
Fair enough.
You see what I'm saying? John Cena was the prototype.
I did like him being a thug.
Right. But you know what I'm saying? So when you get Bray Wyatt, the first iteration of Bray Wyatt in NXT is a rehash of the Waylon Mercy Cape Fear gimmick. You know who helped him with that gimmick? The American Dream, Dusty Rhodes.
Really?
Yes. Dusty was one of the main producers and talent development people backstage at NXT. So if Dusty say this is good and Dusty rolling with this, you think everybody else ain't picking up? You bring the Wyatt fan. There is something about a man sitting in a rocking chair.
Oh, that was creepy as fuck in the beginning.
Bray Wyatt, though, with the evolutions, it became too much real too quick.
Because, like you've been saying before, they overused him, and then he started losing more and more to people who he shouldn't be listening to.
He shouldn't have lost to, so they ended up killing it. But here's the beautiful thing about that: all the overexposure, all the killing the iterations of Bray from the creepy dude in the rocking chair to the eater of worlds to the leader of the Fireflies to all these things, the talkative rambling rabbit as he was, all his Firefly Funhouse puppets are personalities. So the thing is, all of that led to what we have now, and it wasn't intentional. It just works.
It just happens.
Because again, the beautiful thing about, remember when we first started seeing the Firefly Funhouse segments was about you're a failure. You're a failure. You kept failing. You were a failure. And he was like, I know, but I got a friend who I think can make up for all of that. It's the Fiend. Then the Fiend starts popping up. Then the Fiend has a debut match because we just see the Fiend come in, beat somebody's ass, disappear, gone.
Right.
Fiend has a match at SummerSlam. Again, entrance changes the world. He does a neck snap. Everybody's like, what the fuck is this?
Right.
Seth Rollins has a match with him. Then it had to be Hell in a Cell. Well, Seth Rollins almost had to kill him.
Well, it was kind of like, again, theatrically and storytelling wise, it was good. But just the execution, especially just burying him with the amounts of chairs and ladders and everything.
It works. It works. And here's why. And again, this is the fan part of me. You got to keep him down some way.
But I mean, again, this is coming from a non-wrestler. How hard is it to kick out of all those damn chairs?
It's not. When it's a lot put on you, that shit starts weighing up.
Again, this is coming from a non-wrestler that's never been hit by a freaking chair or anything.
Yeah. That shit starts weighing up, especially if you're, again, no matter what we see the Fiend do, we got to remember still the person that's portraying the Fiend,
right.
You got to catch a breath every now and then.
Do you think that's what it was, though? Just like rest up, like, okay? Or is it more like
to rest up? But again, the gimmick has been what can keep this thing down? This thing keeps getting back up no matter what. This thing took 13 curb stomps on the top of a steel grate and kept popping up.
Sure.
You get what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Down.
Okay. So you're saying all this has been leading up to essentially a Braun match against Bray Wyatt. Essentially, the guy who brought him up to him.
These paths are going to cross regardless. Those paths are going. Braun versus Bray was going to happen regardless. It just happened earlier than expected because of everything.
Now, do you think it's going to work out well from Braun Strowman because he has struggled to be where he is now for whatever's been going on in the background that I don't know about or whatever? I don't know.
It doesn't hurt
because if he loses, like he's going to be brought down again. It took forever in a pandemic for him to win.
I'm going to tell you why. Again, this is taking the fan out of it. And this is how now you got to look. Fans wise like, yo, it's going to hurt him. This is how you got to see it as a fan. Also, let me just say that. How does it hurt him? Because the dude who's going to beat him, he's beat technically twice as a regular dude. Now he's got to face his other entity that is known to be stronger. It'll be a battle. It'll be a full match. But if Braun loses to the Fiend, it don't hurt Braun. Braun will get a rematch eventually. Now, the question is, will Braun win the rematch? Probably not.
So you don't think they're going to go a rubber band match with those two?
If you go a rubber match, it's Braun wins the second match via disqualification and count out. Whatever happens is Braun doesn't take the title off of him. Braun doesn't take the title. The Fiend can be beat, but it's going to take people to learn how to beat the Fiend. Braun knows how to beat Bray Wyatt.
Right.
Braun doesn't know how to beat the Fiend. See, the storyline is being
Alexa Bliss too.
And if you bring or whoever it is, if it's Alexa, if it's Nikki, or if you don't do nothing, Braun has to learn how to beat a new Wyatt family, a new Firefly Funhouse.
And we're already seeing it again. I'm not disagreeing with you or anything. Siri woke up for some damn reason. We're seeing this now, the storyline of Braun just losing it.
And think about it. Him losing the title makes it better.
Okay, but where does he go from there, though? Like, because again, like what I mean, like you said, overexposure is also bad for wrestlers, or for anybody. Too much exposure of something, you're gonna get down on it. That just natural happens. But now we have Braun Strowman. Like, who does he challenge? Who does he go? Where does he go next?
See, you're missing the big part. You're jumping ahead without looking at the middle. You keep saying you literally answered your own question, and I'm gonna tell you how. Braun Strowman has become this monster now, right? What been? This is only after Bray Wyatt has pushed him to the edge. Now, the Fiend version of Bray Wyatt can beat this monster. All that does is make him madder to go for revenge. You get what I'm saying? Continues the storyline. You sitting there thinking further ahead. It continues that storyline with the two of them. And then if they decide to put the strap back on Braun, that means Bray doesn't lose as the Fiend. Bray loses as Bray.
So you think if he loses, he's going to be as Bray Wyatt and not as the Fiend?
Yeah. That's the reason why they were doing matches. That's the reason from the very beginning we were getting matches as Bray Wyatt, because Bray Wyatt can lose.
The Fiend?
Huh?
To protect the Fiend, essentially.
To protect the Fiend. They've showed you even as a fan, I watch it. They've shown you everything. Not everything. They've shown you damn near everything you need to know to watch this story build. Especially when it comes to Bray Wyatt. Bray Wyatt can lose matches.
Yeah.
Bray Wyatt can lose.
So again, do you think they finally learned protect the Fiend and not just have him get beaten by damn near everybody?
They'll never have the Fiend get beaten by everybody. The only other person.
Do you think he will ever?
Is going to beat the Fiend. The only person that right now has to beat the Fiend is Roman Reigns. He's the only one.
You think that's what they're saving it for?
Yep.
That's the first
only person. Yep. The only person that's going. They will give Braun a count out or a DQ victory over the Fiend. Not a pin. The person that's going to pin the Fiend that should have always pinned the person that's going to pin the Fiend aside Goldberg is going to be Roman Reigns when he comes back.
It's because so that they're able to build finally a babyface in that the fans will actually cheer for and not struggle as much as it was.
First of all,
I personally love
Roman Reigns. Yeah, you can. But
he's
guess
fantastic.
What? You can, and I'll always have respect for what he does in the ring. But at the same time, we and fans and wrestlers, everybody keeps saying, "Are they going to build Roman as a baby?" Here's the problem: no matter how much they've tried to build Roman as a baby, people have learned that they won't accept it. If they don't want it, they won't take it.
Yeah.
So Roman can and will be the baby face against the Fiend, because you can't make the Fiend a baby face. But
I mean, that's how they're kind of building him with, like, if he's protecting Alexa Bliss, though. If she ends up being his sister,
that's not gonna make him a face. It's not gonna make him a face. It's not making him a face. That's called, again, what is Bray Wyatt? Bray Wyatt has always been about one big thing, no matter what. No, mind games, no matter what. Always. Again, Roman Reigns can come back. People are gonna cheer for the Fiend to beat his ass. It's just gonna happen. It's not gonna make the Fiend the face. It doesn't make the Fiend the face. It's just people are gonna cheer to beat his ass.
Do you think it could happen naturally? What happened with Becky Lynch, where where it just happened naturally with an accidental hit in the face with Roman Reigns?
What do you mean?
Like, she went from essentially a forced heel and a forced babyface to a natural.
Well, yeah, but it also.
Do you think that's what they're hoping to happen to Roman Reigns?
You're missing another part of that story. You're missing another part of that. The part of the SummerSlam, her finally turning on Charlotte. It helped that everything. So you need, if you're thinking it's that, you still need one more big thing. Thing.
Well, like, what I'm saying is, like, I'm not saying it's going to happen immediately, but I'm saying is, do you think that's what they're hoping could happen with the Roman Reigns, to finally have him, not necessarily a babyface or a heel, but somebody that people cheer for because he is naturally gifted in the ring?
But again, I get what you're saying, but you got to keep remembering, for years they have kept trying for years to get him to get cheered. They've been trying for years. They've tried for years every single way they could to get him cheered. It's never been a forced thing. They've been trying everything to open the door for him to be cheered. They brought out, never forget, when he won the Rumble, they brought out The Rock to try to help, and that didn't help.
And you said in The Rock's face.
The WWE. There's the thing. The WWE can't do anything. There's nothing the fans have to let it happen. And guess what? Fans are not. The TV fans are not. All the fans you'll see on TV are not. The fans in house shows will. The fans on TV won't. And that's the issue. You can't control TV fans because they know what they're doing. So, again, it's nothing about the WWE.
Right.
The fans don't dictate that. And they can try in production to try to drown out the boos and put in cheers, but you're going to try to have them. You can't consistently control that on a live event. Can't control it live. So it's not up to them. So again, yeah, he's gonna come in as he's the considerable face, but the Fiend is gonna be the heel. But the Fiend is gonna be the heel everybody wants to see beat the dog shit out of Roman Reigns.
And so let me ask you this then. Do you think it's gonna happen in the first fight? Like he will beat the Fiend in the first fight? No?
It's gotta be a big pay-per-view.
You think?
It's gotta be a Royal Rumble. It's got to be something built, and then it's not going to happen one time. It's not going to be you got it. Well, not within 1 month. Let's say, for instance, okay. So let's say for shits and giggles, they decide we're in August right now. Let's say they decide to pull the trigger and say, no matter what happens, no matter how we do it, the Fiend will be the champion come WrestleMania. Okay. The Fiend is the champion going into WrestleMania. We want Roman versus the Fiend at Mania.
Mm-hmm.
Now, what you got to do, if the Fiend loses the belt, he'll get it back regardless. Excuse me. You just have to keep building up that track record so when Roman comes back, all you got to do is build up Roman coming back and winning the Rumble, right? Roman has a story of redemption. He wins the Rumble. Now, because he won the Rumble. Did he win the Rumble last year? No.
Yeah. No, it was this year. No, last year he did. Because this year was the Scottish.
McIntyre.
Yeah.
McIntyre. Right. So Roman
wins
next
year who did it.
Right. So Roman wins next year. Roman's whole story of I've survived leukemia. Now I've come back from this virus to try to take me out. I haven't been here. I lost something. I need to get back something I never lost. That's the theory. Because guess what? He didn't lose the Universal title.
Stripped off from him.
He had to relinquish it. You know what I'm saying? So you lose something you never lost. You getting back something you never lost. Now the one person you got to do is quote unquote the hardest task you've ever had to face. So from January to April, the chase to the Universal title is on. Which means if the chase is that long, the chase is on when they have the match at WrestleMania. If Roman beats him, then it's all worth it. It's built up. Everything's built up. I'm fighting for. I'm not just fighting to beat the Fiend. I'm fighting to get back something I never lost.
So how? We're essentially building it now. So how would you build the build up to WrestleMania? Obviously, Bray wins throughout most time, or if he loses, it's going to be by discount, by DQ, and doesn't count as a victory.
Yeah, I just said that. Like you just no matter what you do, you just make sure Bray goes into WrestleMania as the champion. No matter what, you're saying Roman Reigns has to lose until WrestleMania. No, no. You're missing everything. Roman never fights for the title.
Oh, got you. I understand now.
Roman never fights for the title until WrestleMania. Roman wins the Rumble, but that's it. He has matches, but he never fights for the title until WrestleMania. That's the thing. That's where the chase is on.
Right.
That's the storyline. The chase is lost. The story is the drive to the story is lost. If Roman wins the Rumble, the next month he's challenging for the Universal title. Makes no sense. Or the month after.
But they've never done that before though, too. It's always at WrestleMania when they fight.
But it makes no sense to do it. Because if you do that dumb shit, because that's what it is, it devalues the win at the Rumble. The purpose of the win of the Rumble is to challenge the champion at WrestleMania, not at Elimination Chamber, not at whatever pay-per-view in between. It's all about WrestleMania. You're thinking too much on it. It's all the Rumble win is all about the person challenging the WrestleMania. That's just like Drew McIntyre's win was. It's all about going to WrestleMania.
But he also had to prove didn't he also go into the Elimination Chamber this year too, before WrestleMania?
Probably so, but but it never.
He destroyed everybody. Granted,
that's nothing new though. But also, you got to remember that's nothing new. That's never been anything new with having the person who has the title, who has the shot, have the match to determine their shot if they keep it. That's been done numerous times. That's not new. So it's nothing different. So it's nothing a surprise to happen. Hey, I want to challenge you for your spot at WrestleMania. That's nothing new. Nothing new. See, again, you're overthinking it. It's a plain and simple story to go to WrestleMania. Plain and simple.
Okay, so then again, this is coming from somebody out from the outside. Why is the WWE Vince McMahon himself so invested in Roman Reigns? Again, granted, I love Roman Reigns. I think he's a great character in and outside of wrestling.
Because Vince McMahon sees money in him. That's it.
Even though, well, I guess booze is also good too for him.
Vince McMahon, Vince McMahon. The answer is plain and simple. There's no other reason about it. Vince McMahon sees money in him. That's it. That's it.
So you think he's gonna be like the new? Essentially, he's the new Cena and the new, that's in moneymaker.
He's the new Rock.
Really? You think so?
I know so.
Again, this is just.
I know so.
From the outside perspective,
the Shield was supposed to be the new Attitude Era guys.
Yeah.
Where Ambrose was your new Austin, Rollins was your new Triple H, and Roman Reigns is your new Rock. That's exactly what they were. That's it. Roman Reigns is his money guy now. Of course, he needs a money guy, like you just, and actually, yes, to go what you said, he needs a money guy behind Cena.
Okay.
Cena's gone. Cena's gone. So now, I mean, granted, he'll come. People will listen to this and be like, well, is he gone? Cena's gone full time.
Yes, he's part time now.
Right. And because of his career, which is taken off, which Vince understands.
Good for him.
Now you have a new guy, and Vince sees that as Roman. So Vince sees money.
Even with all the all the rumors.
Doesn't matter. You know why it don't matter? Roman still sells merchandise. Doesn't matter. People boo and hate him all the time. Roman's still selling merch.
I was gonna say, like, the fans will boo him, but do you think this is not about him not mattering or whatever? It's just do you think he works better as a heel though then, or
no? Because ain't nobody buying it. No, nobody buying it.
But nobody buys him being a babyface either.
Nobody's buying. Well, again, TV fans aren't buying it.
Fair enough.
And when I say TV fans, I'm talking about people that are in the arenas during TV, not people that are watching. People in the arenas during TV.
Because people watching on TV actually like him,
right?
For the most part.
Again, you just answered your own question. Vince sees money, and Vince gets money out of. That's it, plain and simple. You're trying to. I get you're thinking of it as a fan, which I'm cool with it. I'm with you on that. But again, as a fan, you just got to know the simple thing it comes down to. Vince sees money in dude. That's it. There's nothing else. There's no, well, what if this? No, it's Vince sees money in him.
Okay.
None of that, all that other questions you may, the 1A, 1B, 1C, you may try to ask for it. None of those matter. Vince see money in him. That's it. Vince see money in him.
Fair enough.
You know what I'm saying? When you got somebody, you know, again, if Vince didn't see money in Roman Reigns wouldn't have new shirts.
No, you're right. Because I was asking that because, right before when the pandemic was hitting, right in the beginning of March or whatever, and Roman was out, and they showed that vignette or whatever and he wasn't even there in the matches. It took away them highlights with them or whatever. That's again, that's what you're supposed to do.
That's what you're supposed to do. It's not you're not taking him out of history because he's not gone. Roman Reigns is still a WWE superstar, but I'm not going to show you vignettes and packages with him because now you'll have every dirt sheet in the country and the world start speculating that eventually he's coming back when you know he's not. So you take it out.
Okay, so it's a way of protecting him as well.
Not
protecting the product.
It's not with protecting him. It's nothing to do with protecting him. It's you don't set yourself up for people thinking something and getting disappointed and getting mad because they don't get it. That's not protecting
fandoms
him.
In general.
Huh?
That's fandoms in general.
Yeah, it's just right. It's fandoms in general. It's you just keeping yourself from dealing with unnecessary bullshit because the more you put, if you have Roman Reigns in any video package for any promo, for any show or pay-per-view or whatever, and you know he's not going to be there, all you're doing is setting yourself up for a bunch of angry tweets, social media posts, blog posts, dirt sheets, all that. It's unnecessary. Granted, they only pay attention to 3% of anything on the internet. They only pay attention to 3% of anything. But at the same time, guess what? You don't want to deal with none of it. You want people to focus So you are the machine. You control what we talk about. You control what the if I'm the machine, I'm controlling what you talk about. I'm controlling how you talk about it. I'm controlling what you see. I'm controlling what you don't see.
Okay.
Do you see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
We're not talking AEW isn't a machine yet.
I don't think they're treating it this way either.
Huh?
I think for AEW at least, I don't think they're treating themselves as that, as a machine yet.
No. When you become a global thing, internationally, the world has eyes on you. That's when you're a machine, because now you're pumping out a product consistently for them. Which
I actually really like that AEW is having as success as they're having right now, because it's making, I don't know.
Now I don't know. Well, see, here's the thing, and the honeymoon phase for them is over. So now the honeymoon phase is over. Now they got to improve. That honeymoon, that oh my God, this is something new. This is something
right.
New. We got all these people. Cool. Now you got to really have to prove, because your problem is you doing what you said you wasn't gonna do.
Go against Vince?
No, fuck going. They're not going against Vince. It's you bringing in old Vince talent. The number one thing you said you was not gonna do. You said you would get a few, but now you're getting way too many.
Do you think they're unintentionally pulling up a TNA?
Yeah, exactly what it is. That's exactly what it is. Everybody knows what it is. It's unintentional, but it's like, yo, we can get this talent. We can see what they're gonna do. We can get this talent. Hopefully, this talent that we bring in that used to be okay can boost our ratings.
Also, it didn't help that the pandemic hit, and they're a new baby company. Essentially, it didn't help.
Well, luckily, the pandemic hurt, because they can't. Only thing the pandemic hurt for them, really.
It's exposure, wouldn't it?
Huh?
Wouldn't be exposure?
Well, no. Well, here's the thing: they still on TV just as much as everything else. They're still on TV. They still on TV. They still have had facilities to run. At first, they were doing with no fans, because they were like, "Well, if the WWE gonna run it, we're gonna run it." And Vince is bigger. And honestly, I'm with them. If the number one company in the world is gonna do it, we gonna do it. Because if they watch people watching their product, no matter how they may feel about it, they're gonna watch it. So they'll watch us. The problem is the pandemic. So number one, AEW doesn't go to the same size arenas.
No, because they can't.
They can't fill up. They can't guarantee fill up everything. So they go to like the college stadiums and stuff like that, the smaller things. So that takes away those live viewers. But nonetheless, you still have the product. Now, the advantage of being in the cesspool that is Florida. Florida is Florida. We all know this.
Well, I agree with you.
But the advantage of being in Florida, just like the WWE, the cons have their own facility, so you can keep running your shows regardless.
And don't a lot of wrestlers live in Florida for that same reason too?
Some do. A lot don't. A lot live. A lot of wrestlers live out here. But you got some that live out there. So again, with AEW, you can do that. But then you're in Florida that opened up unnecessarily. So now, one beautiful thing you can do, you were already doing the fans, the workers on the ring sides. On one side, faces on another. That's cool. But now you can slowly start trickling in fans in the back of Daly's place. So now you're slowly able to build your fans back into things. So now you have a more genuine reaction.
Right.
You have a fan reaction. It hurt, because it's a small, it hurt. But at the same time, that statement, because they're a small company, it hurt everything. Vince had to cut, remember, because of the pandemic, Vince McMahon had to cut a lot of talent.
Well, that was a bit dirty about they did about some of the wrestlers too.
What do you mean?
Like they cut off what was that wrestling those two guys? Like a lot of them again, this is coming from somebody who's read the reports. They waited until there was no other way for them to go to another company and start wrestling and make money that way.
That's not dirty. That's not dirty. That's it's fucked up as a wrestler, because you need to work.
No, especially but like for those who have been asking to be released for the longest of time, and they wouldn't.
Yeah, because they knew what they were trying to do. Which is
fair enough. Keep it away from the competition. Again, it's dirty as a motherfucker, but
it's smart. See, we talk about it in wrestling. But in a lot of major corporations, let's say there's a major, so like some people can't go from, let's just say that there was another major corporation, which there is, I don't know what it is, like Apple to Google, some shit like that. Let's say you quit one. You can't just instantly go and jump and work for the other. You got to wait a period out. Unless you've had a major severance and you signed a lot of shit.
Right.
The difference is with those, we don't see those people performing. We don't see those people on television. The difference with the WWE talent, they knew when Moxley and Jericho left, they knew Moxley told them he was leaving because he was just tired of wrestling. He told them that when in all actuality, he was tired of wrestling for them.
Well, I mean, look what they made him do the final couple months. Again, I don't know if it was just him.
I get that. I get all that, but I'm just saying, I get all that. But he told them he was tired of the business. He was tired of the business.
Their business.
Right. But that's not what he told them. So then he shows up on AEW. So now they realize people just want out of their contracts because they want to go over here. And now this will become something potentially. If all these people keep going here and they build it right, this can be something. They already got some of our ex-producers working over there, knowing how this works. So it's fucked up. Don't get me wrong. Let's say, for instance, I have a WWE contract and I'm working and I'm on TV. Then all of a sudden y'all let me go. And now I'm in a 90-day no-compete clause. Well, all I can do is just sit there and get in shape and stay in ring shape until my 90 days is up.
And that's why a lot of their crops start popping up in AEW.
Yes.
I mean, aside from the pandemic, obviously.
Yes. You can't appear on TV at all. It ain't wrestle. You can't even be on TV for 90. You can't be on TV for any. You can't be on TV and you can't speak out about anything for 90 days. You have a 90-day shut your mouth clause. You for 3 months quiet.
Jesus. I mean, I get it is a doggy dog, whatever, but Jesus.
So yeah, man. But let's save some of this for the next time, bro. Because this is getting deep, man. As always, man, I appreciate your conversation. This one got real deep. What you wanted to talk about. This is what you wanted to talk about.
For sure, dude.
On the road with this.
Dude, like I told you last time, I'm taking this as an interview for you, working with you.
Hey, so, that's what dude, no problem with me, man. Listen, I appreciate you always, Luis. Thank you for being a member of the squad. Go ahead and tell the people if they want to find you, reach you, and see the stuff that you are doing.
Well, when I can, you can find me all type of media from Instagram, Twitter, whatever at LT King 93, Twitter, YouTube, whatever have you. That's where I'm being.
All right, man. Y'all already know the drill. Twitter, Instagram, Mr. J Washington. If you're watching this on YouTube after it's been released, join, and you want to be able to do this. This is at the $25 and up tier on the Supervillain Squad. Again, it's like a meet and greet, but the difference is this ain't about what I want to talk about. This is what they want to talk about. You know what I'm saying? What do you want to talk about?
Bullshit.
You know what I'm saying? What they want to talk about. So make sure you join over there. All right. Holla at y'all later. This was fun. Take care. I'm out of here. Bye.